The Tour de France is always pressure.
It's in your head, you know you can do it.
È ora che arrivi questa tappa perché almeno...
Más tranquilo, saber que tengo que atacar más.
It's the first really test to see who is the guys who can win the tour, I suppose.
Bien sûr, quand c'est un rendez-vous aussi important.
It's pressure, it's excitement, you know, it's accomplishment, everything.
There's always something happening every day.
No es ni para especialistas en contralor.
I'm pretty psyched for it. It's long for a time trial. It's one of the longest in the year.
This is the one race you can't afford to ever relax in.
The time trial course lies roughly 100 miles west of Paris, winding south along narrow back roads from Argentan to Alençon for 44 miles. It is unusually long in comparison with time trial courses of last year. Rolling hills call for the riders to change their rhythm constantly. The riders go one at a time at 2-minute intervals, no recourse to team tactics. Johnny Buño, passing the third of 3 checkpoints, sets the fastest time so far of the day. Buño has shown speed all week. This is his chance to make it count. Jean-Francois Bernard, he had a brilliant season 3 years ago, almost winning the Tour, but a knee injury derailed his career. He's flying now as he rides for Team Benesto as a domestique for Delgado and Indurain. And here is Miguel Indurain, who finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in last year's time trials, and here leads both Buño and Bernard at every checkpoint. 2 years ago, Jean-Francois Bernard was told by doctors that his knee injury meant the end of his career. During the Tour that year, he was painting his house. Now he is back, and this is his best race in 3 years. Bernard moving into the lead ahead of Buño. Claudio Chiappucci has attacked repeatedly this week, forcing up the pace of the peloton. But Chiappucci is more of an opportunist, a man of daring strategies than a great time trialer, and here he passes the checkpoints well off the pace.
And this is the arrival of Miguel Indurain. He's about to pass Sean Yates as he comes up towards the line, and this is going to be a great time. 1 hour, 35 minutes, 44 seconds, and that verifies his check times where they've been the best. Miguel Indurain is now setting the standard for the favourites to match. Well, this is Laurent Fignon. He's passed through the 31 kilometres point, and he's already over 2 minutes down on Miguel Indurain.
Laurent Fignon. He is pulling a relatively big gear, using the power of his legs to drive the bike. The idea is to stay in an aerodynamic tuck. Looking up at the road, even for an instant, causes some drag. Riders are limited by the onset of oxygen debt, a buildup of lactic acid which causes excruciating muscular pain.
And this is the arrival of Claudio Chiappucci, second last year in the Tour de France. And look at this. He's losing 4 minutes here to Miguel Indurain, Paul.
Well, there are some very strange times out on the course at the moment. A lot of riders seem to be suffering. It's a very hard course, up and down all the time, lots of corners. Very, very windy. The wind is rising now, becoming a headwind. And look, there's 1:39. It's already 4 minutes that Chiappucci has lost on Miguel Indurain. There's going to be some serious fighting, I think, when we come to the mountain.
Claudio Chiappucci, another all-out effort, but he does not look to figure in this year's Tour. Unlike this man, Eric Breukink, utterly impassive despite the pressure. Breukink has shadowed Le Mans all week. This is his chance to step out of the shadow. And Le Mans knows it, knows the standings are in for a shake-up, and that Breukink could well wind up ahead. Their duel coming up next. Trial is that in one swift movement wholly within the control of the rider, he can change the flow of the race. Breukink, trailing Le Mans by 7 seconds, knows this, and Le Mans knows it too. He has once again put his faith in new technology. His bike frame, built entirely of carbon fiber by a company in San Francisco, is both ultralight and very strong.
It's the lightest and most rigid bike made right now in the world, which is an advantage every time you go up a hill or sprint. This is a disc wheel, solid. It's supposed to slide through the air a little bit faster. This is a 4-spoke. They have 4-spoke, 3-spoke wheels. And now, because these bars, your elbows are too close together for stability, you have to have a spoke wheel in front to keep your line straight. It's extremely responsive, and you can tell the difference. Most bikes, it's hard to tell the difference, but this bike, you can really tell the difference.
So the technology is there. Lamond in the start house, knowing a few ounces of bite can make a difference, but that the willingness to bear the pain of the ride is what it will take to beat his confident rival. Breukink focused only on the road ahead. Laurent Fignon, after a disappointing prologue, this is an excellent ride.
Fignon is coming home with just inside a 1 hour 40-minute ride, and that will still keep him in the Tour, at least within some sight of the leaderboard. And he's arriving with 1:39.23, 10th place at the moment.
Fignon and the man who stole the Tour from him in a time trial, Greg LeMond, who now battles Eric Breukink, who left the start house 2 minutes ago. Breukink underway, swift and sure. His fellow Dutchmen are so confident that he will win the Tour, and an electronics firm is offering special rebates on their products if he does.
And this is the situation at 31.5 kilometers. Eric Breukink is through with the best time, 41.35. And in second place, Miguel Indurain, 41.40. And Greg LeMond, the 41.52. So he's dropped about 17 seconds there on Breukink at the first check.
LeMond said he would not be devastated by a loss of 30 seconds in the time trial, but at this rate, he'll lose over a minute.
Here we go back to Breukink, and look at the way the man accelerates. As soon as he gets to a slight drag in the road, he's out of the saddle, pushing that gear around, forcing himself back up to the speed there. Look at the total difference. If we could get another shot at LeMond, look at the difference in style between that of Breukink and that of LeMond. LeMond is a fighter. He's a strong man. Breukink is slightly more longiline. He's a longer rider. We're a real pure time trialist. Look at the style of LeMond here. You can see he's a real fighter as he gets out of the saddle there. See by the size of his back and the size of those thighs that LeMond is the kind of man who uses sheer force to get those pedals round. He isn't a natural cyclist. He's a man who's got a natural force. And look at the crowd just getting out of the way here as LeMond powers those gears over the top of this false flat.
Thierry Marie, his great solo breakaway Thursday has taken its toll. At the first checkpoint, already 3 minutes behind Breukink, he no longer leads the race. Breukink through checkpoint 2 was 26 seconds ahead of LeMond and 31 ahead of Indurain. He passes checkpoint 3, still 26 ahead of LeMond, but only 20 ahead of Indurain. Is he slowing up? Time trials go a long way to determining the Tour winner. In the last 14 years, only twice has the Tour winner not won a time trial. However, it should be noted that both those years, the winner was this man, Greg LeMond, who seems to be going stronger as Breukink levels off.
So it does appear, Paul, that we now have, as we thought, a head-to-head battle between Breukink on the left here and Greg LeMond.
Well, that's what has been announced for a couple of days here. And I think LeMond is going to be quite happy if he stays at this deficit. He's 26 seconds behind at the last time check.
3 miles to go. LeMond attacking, Breukink hanging on. Their roles, it seems, reverse suddenly. The Dutchman, his form still perfect, but the strength gone from him now. On this day, Thierry Marie did not have the strength in the first place. He will not keep the yellow jersey. Breukink headed for the finish. The time slower than Indurain.
And Breukink keeps looking at the finishing banner ahead of him, and it must feel as though it's never coming.
Well, it's been a very long last kilometre for Eric Breukink here. He's just coming to the line. And remember, as he crosses the line here, in 1:36 and 58 seconds in third place, he really has exploded.
LeMond, by contrast, coming on. He has covered the last 5 miles of the course a minute and a half faster than Breukink. LeMond is headed for the lead of this race, while Breukink, who had run out of drinking water for those last few miles, slumped, dehydrated on his bike.
And here is LeMond lining up for the finish as Eric Breukink has just crossed the line. He too is not going to beat Miguel Indurain. Now there's a turn up for the book, because the Spanish rider, who we felt might be the leader of the Banesto team, has done the ride of his life in the Tour de France today.
Indurain becoming something of a nemesis for LeMond. He beat him in a key mountain stage last year. And so Miguel Indurain, who earlier this year made a special trip here to ride and study this course, sees his homework pay off. Greg LeMond has had his best time trial since he won the Tour in '89. It's a stunning disappointment for Breukink, who, while he moves up the standings overall, is now over a minute behind LeMond. Miguel Indurain has surged from 48th to 4th, while his teammate Pedro Delgado has come from 5th